With Regulation C right here, do not be sleeping on Scizor. It is a welcome addition to any team. Welcome back, YouTube. Espresso Shucko here, and why are we talking about Scizor all of a sudden? Well, it's because Scizor can be really fun with this format. With Regulation C, the 4 Treasures of Ruin have been introduced, which means we have 4 new legendaries that are part dark, which just are begging to be hit with a pounce off this thing. So, Scizor. It's fun. It's only got one real weakness with its bug steel typing, and that's fire. And then any other weaknesses around it are, you know, Intimidate, Clear Amulet gets rid of that, Burns, Terrifier gets rid of that. You see where we're going with this. So Scizor has a really solid attack stat of 130. It's got moderately decent bulk with 100 defense and 80 special defense. The 70 HP does hold it back a little bit, but if you play correctly with Terra, you can definitely live some hits that Scizor normally wouldn't live and then hit back really hard. And as far as the EV breakdown on screen goes, I actually saw this from watching a Moxie Boosted video that he did a collab with the main event. And basically what they talked about was here, with 172 speed EVs, we hit 107, we outspeed Dragapult. We go up to the last bump for EV points into attack where we get an extra one. So we hit 198 attack there, and then we just put the rest into the bulk. And from there, as far as moves go, we have Bullet Punch, which is Scizor's bread and butter that it's been doing ever since Bullet Punch came out, or rather since it got access to Bullet Punch, because I'm pretty sure Scizor didn't get access to Bullet Punch originally in Gen 4, but rather halfway through Gen 4 with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I digress. It's got a new welcome addition in the form of Pounce, which is, you know, a bug-type move that benefits not only from its own stab, but from Technician, that lowers the target's speed guaranteed once they're hit. And then we can have Tailwind to surprise the opponent and flip on the speed button. Now, in the original video that I was watching, they talked about close combat instead of protect, but I'm a scaredy cat. I worry about my Scizor sometimes, so I throw protect on there, but close combat can be really good here, or some other moves, because you do get walled out by fire types if you do run this. So that is something to keep in mind. You will get walled out by fire types. At least with close combat, you have that strong fighting type option there at the cost of your defenses. You can go Facade if you're unable to go Terrifier and somehow ended up getting burned. At least you have that. You have access to Night Slash, which is a dark type move, but I digress. This set has been fun. I've been using it. I've been having moderately good success with it as well. The amount of times I've bullet punched Fluttermanes has been wonderful. It's usually because it's hitting a choice item Fluttermane or a booster energy Fluttermane. But the fact that people have... I once straight up had a guy go Terra Fairy in the face of my Scizor, and I was like, cool, I'm going to bullet punch you. Doesn't make my bullet punch any weaker, so that was a thing. But I digress. This is a fun set to use. As far as the 4 Ruin Pokemon go, none of them appreciate taking a pounce off of Technician and Natural Stab. Chi-Yu, if you go Terra Fire, depending on what the item Chi-Yu is holding, you can live a Heat Wave, which is relatively nice. You hit him with a pounce. You do about 75% roughly, maybe a little bit less than that with 1 pounce. You lower their speed, and then you can take them out again, and plus in doubles. You can not only bullet punch them, but you could just leave them for whatever's on the field with Scizor. You will live a Heat Wave with Terra Fire. Terra Water is also an option too, but you can potentially get burned, so I'd be careful with that. And the reason why I make a note of Terra Water is because Iron Bundle is really, really scary for this Scizor if you go Terra Fire, because Hydro Pump just hurts. Unfortunately, I've had the pleasure of experiencing that too, but I digress. Bullet Punch, Pounce, they hit really hard. If you wanted to, you could go Terra Water, and then that way you could live a Hydro Pump off of Bundle. Then you had to worry about Freeze Dry, but you could do something like that. As far as some other options that Scizor goes, you could go Choice Band as well if you wanted to. If you didn't want to go with Tailwind, you can definitely do that too. You go Choice Band, Bullet Punch. You could still go Pounce. Take advantage of those stabs while you have them. You could even go Terra Steel maybe, or Terra Bug, but I'm not 100% certain how Terastallization stacks with Technician and Stab, because, you know, Stab is going to be a lot further up. So I'm not 100% certain how that mechanic quite works out, but you could also go with a different Terra if you wanted to. You could go Terra Rock and run Terra Blast. You could do that, because, you know, fire types are still a problem. You could go Terra Rock to get around that, or you could just wait for Cleavor to come out. On that note, Cleavor actually gets Sharpness now instead of Steadfast, so the more you know. But yeah, anyways, back to Scizor. You can go Bullet Punch, you can go Pounce, you can go Terra Rock if you wanted to with Terra Blast. Could go Terra Water. Terra Water wouldn't be bad with Terra Blast, and then that way you could get around fire types. That way you can live fire type attacks. Same with Rock. That was kind of the main idea behind those. So, yeah. As far as some other moves go to, if you want to go with Technician, you do have access to Quick Attack, but I wouldn't bother running Quick Attack and Bullet Punch because Psychic Terrain is still a thing. Trailblaze, you do gain the ability to increase your speed one stage, which is nice. You have U-Turn, which gets you out, which is especially handy on a Choice Band set, obviously. You could run a partner next to Scizor so that you still have that 107 speed. Run like maybe Prankster Murkrow, Killer Wattrel, Booster Energy Roaring Moon, or Iron Jugulus with Tailwind, and then that way too you can just outspeed things if you need to. Chien Pao is not bad because it does get Ice Spinner. And on top of that, Sword of Ruin does lower your opponent's defense by a quarter. I actually ran Chien Pao and Scizor in the first global challenge, which I had a lot of fun with. If I could have changed something though, I would have made sure to put Sucker Punch on my Chien Pao because I had Throat Chop. But Ice Spinner is really nice because you can get around those pesky Psychic Terrain users there. You go for the Ice Spinner, destroy the terrain. Now Scizor is free to Bullet Punch, Chien Pao is free to Sucker Punch. So that is something there. They pair really nicely. Scizor also could pair really nicely with Tinglu as well, because Tinglu does lower the opponent's and well, it lowers everyone's special attack. But you could do that with Tinglu, which could be a good partner there. Scizor and Tinglu, or Scizor and Chien Pao, they could be a good combination. So yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking there. And like I said, this thing does blow up Chi-Yu, if you call it correctly. It destroys Flutter Mane, which is wonderful, especially if they're not running Focus Sash. Chien Pao, look at that defense stat. It's 80. Look at that HP stat. It's 80. This thing is not appreciating either a Bullet Punch or a Pounce, unless a Terra is into a Ghost type. And even then, it still doesn't like that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Stall Slug. Grass Dark, 4 times weak to Bug. Unless it goes Terra Poison, it ain't living a Pounce, even with the attack drop into Scizor. Actually, let's go into the damage calc right there, because I'm kind of curious about that. Okay, so I just brought up the doubles EV spread for Wo-Chien. I pre-populated the UU set, but anyways, I just physically modified it. So you run Pounce with 236 attack EVs on an Adamant Nature with Technician into Wo-Chien, which is wonderful. We're just going to get rid of my face for a quick second there so you can see it. But yeah, Pounce right here is doing between 93 and 112.5% to Wo-Chien if it doesn't Terra out of its Dark Grass typing, which could be really awesome, especially if you've already forced your opponent to Terra something else. Maybe they're running Wo-Chien and Palathin. I did run into that in the global challenge, where Palathin went Terra Water. So that's something that you can keep in mind too. Your opponent might burn their Terra and then have like Wo-Chien, and then you can just blast it with a Pounce. Let's take a quick look, maybe on a Tinglu set. We're just going to do we'll do this one, the first one, the defensive hazards. You're doing about 44 to 52% into Tinglu, which is really nice off of Technician boost. If you get a helping hand right there, you're doing 64 to 78% with a helping hand boosted Pounce, which is really nice because that's mostly HP and special defense. Let's see if there's any physical sets. Here we go. Let's try the physically defensive set. So this is max HP, max defense. you're doing anywhere between 32 to 39%. You can still do a lot of damage. You get that boost from the Helping Hand. It's a 2-hit KO pretty much. It's a 76% chance to be a 2-hit KO. So, like I'm trying to get out of me, Scizor can do a lot of damage to the ruins if it really wants to. So, don't sleep on it. That's all I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think about Scizor or some other Pokemon you've been trying in Regulation C. And yeah, let's get the conversation going.